And welcome back. We are going to be looking at today how representation is determined in the United States Senate and more specifically in the House of Representatives through the processes of reapportionment and redistricting. And if you see in this image over here, you will recognize Prince George's County, Anne Arundel County, Howard County, Montgomery County. These are all counties in the state of Maryland, and you'll notice these colored boundaries here that go in a variety of these counties. You see 4, 5, 2, 3, 7, 8, 6. These are called districts, and we are going to be learning about what districts are and how they are related to Congress. All right, so as you've learned previously, each state, no matter their size or population, each state has the same number of senators. How many senators does each state have? 2. Very good. Then the question is, how do we determine how many representatives each state sends to the House of Representatives? You probably know this answer. Population. The bigger a state's population, the more representatives it has in the House of Representatives. So we're going to be focusing on that in this short video. All right, here is a very short timeline of how government at all levels, national and state, how they make House districts. So the first thing that happens is every 10 years, according to the Constitution, the national government takes what's called a census. And a census is a population count. And very simple, they measure where people are moving, where they're leaving, tells us which states have lots of people, which states don't have lots of people. We'll talk about the implications of this in a few more minutes. After the national government takes a census, the national government performs a process called reapportionment. And the way I remember this concept is if you take a look at this part right here, portion is kind of like a piece of something. So if you are a big state, you're going to get a bigger portion. If you're a smaller state, you're going to get a smaller portion. So the more people you have in your state, the more seats you will get in the House of Representatives. If you're a small state, less people, less seats. I think you can remember that. And the last step here is after the states are told how many representatives they're going to have, each state has to create their districts of equal population for each seat. So, if Maryland has 8 congressional districts, the state of Maryland has to create 8 boundaries for these seats. And each boundary has to be equal or relatively equal in population. Now it gets kind of tricky because many states try to game the system by using a controversial method of gerrymandering where they make congressional districts that help their party and hurt the other party. And if you take a look at this political cartoon here, you see the good old donkey, the Democratic donkey, and the Republican elephant, and they're painting parts of Texas red or blue because they're trying to create districts that help their members get elected. All right, so let's take a look here. We talked about steps 1 and 2. Let's just go into them a little bit more depth. As I keep emphasizing, representation in the House based upon a state's population. And that's why we do the census, because if we want to measure population, we have to take the census. The census occurs every 10 years. 2010 was the last census, and the next census will be, as you guessed, in 2020. Now you'll notice I have a few little videos embedded here. We're going to do those in class. We're going to watch those in class a little bit later today. I'll include a hyperlink if you watch the YouTube video where you can actually click on these videos if you're watching this on a computer. The second step, as we said before, is the national government does what it's called that reapportionment. It tells how many seats each state will receive in the House. Big states get more seats, more seats, more districts, more representatives. Smaller states, less seats, less districts, less representatives. Now, really simple thing to keep in mind, bigger a state's population, more seats it gets in the House. Not the Senate, but the House. And what we're going to be getting into later is why is it important to have extra seats? Why would a state want to have more seats in the House of Representatives? And you should be thinking about this. You know, why would it be beneficial for a state to have more members from their state in Congress? We're going to read about this, we're going to watch a video about this, but you should be coming up with ideas. So after we take the census, we do the apportionment, and this is from the latest apportionment from 2010, and you'll notice, look at a state like Texas. Texas and Florida, they gained 2 and 4 members of House, members in the House. They gained that many seats. Now, if Texas, Florida, and Georgia, and Arizona, and Nevada, if they're gaining all those seats, someone is losing them. And you'll notice states in the Midwest, states in the Northeast, particularly, were losing House seats. So what does this mean? Well, you should know. If states are losing seats, their populations aren't rising very high, or they're not rising fast enough compared to these states where their populations are moving much faster. And to be fair, we want to give the states with more people more representatives, because that's, you know, what the founding fathers of our country wanted with the House. The House is supposed to be representative of the people, and your representatives in the House are supposed to be closer to the people. So the more representatives goes to the states with the most people. The last step is the most controversial, is step 3, the redistricting. And this is something that the states do. So steps 1 and 2, that's all national government. States are in charge of what's called redistricting. So all of these boundaries, all of these numbered boundaries are called districts. All right? And 1 member of Congress represents each district. Each district has to be about the same size and population. They don't look the same. They're all weird and have weird shapes, but they're supposed to be equal in population. This happens every 10 years after the states get their new census data. Now, most of us in our neck of the woods live in what's called Maryland District 4. And if you look at Maryland District 4, it includes a whole bunch of Prince George's County on the border of Montgomery and Prince George's, goes into Laurel, and then a whole big chunk of Anne Arundel County. So it's kind of crazy. If you go across the street from our high school, Northwestern, you actually go into District 5. If you're on our side of the street, you're in District 4. Now, does that have a huge effect on you? No, but that means you vote for someone different when you go vote for Congress, for members in the House every 2 years. So you'll notice the shape's kind of weird. Some people think Maryland is notorious for gerrymandering, and that's something we'll talk more about in